Fahrenheit and do the same test again. I'm gonna first try the SAC alloy at 800 degrees. And then I'm gonna reflow the tip with the SnCx alloy, clean it, reflow it again, just to dilute the previous alloy. And I'm gonna do the same with this alloy, with the SnCx alloy. So here are the results at 800 degrees. At the left hand side we have the SAC alloy, and at the right hand side we have the SnCx alloy. Now I don't know how well you can see in the camera, but both of them are shiny at their most part, but this alloy here, the SAC alloy at this area, is not shiny at the very top of the blob, whereas this alloy is shiny throughout the whole surface of the blob. Okay, so the last test I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reflow the soldering tip, and I'm gonna leave the solder there for about 10 seconds for each alloy at 600 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I will try to solder these joints there to see how it goes. This is not something you would normally do, because you would have to keep the flux inside the solder wire running when you solder along with your soldering tip. But I'm going to try this test as well. I'm going to first try the SAC alloy. So I'm going to put a good blob of solder there. Leave it for 10 seconds. And I'll try to solder this. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the other alloy. Let's clean the tip first. Reflow, clean the tip. And now that's the SnCx alloy. Leave it 10 seconds. Let's see the results. The top bit is the SAC alloy. The bottom bit is the SnCx alloy. These are bad joints, but these have been made without much flux on them. That's the SAC alloy, and that's the SnCx alloy. The SAC alloy and the SnCx alloy. Here are our two alloys, the SnCxPlus07 from Alpha Electronics, Alpha Industries, how you want to call them. Their website is alphaassembly.com, and it contains 99.3% of tin and 0.7% of copper. And the other alloy, lead-free or lead-free, if you want to call it like this, is made by Kester, and it's the SAC305 alloy. It is composed of 96.5% of tin, 3% of silver, and 0.5% of copper. So both of these alloys have similar properties. Both are usable, perfectly usable, and they both give the same similar joints. Of course, you wouldn't expect the joints to be really shiny as with lead-based solders, but they are perfectly usable. I use them all the time, and it's a good idea to switch to lead-free solder if you haven't done so, even though it's more expensive. But the SnCxPlus07 is a little bit cheaper than the SAC305 alloys, because it doesn't have any silver added to it. From the safety point of view, well, I'm not a safety expert, but I would prefer a solder which has less metals in it, fewer components. But anyway, that's just a personal opinion. I haven't done extensive research on it. It seems that the SAC alloy behaves well throughout the different temperature ranges we have tested it, but the SnCxPlus07 alloy has a tendency to oxidize more at 650 or near 650 degrees Fahrenheit. But this was, of course, as you have seen, the extreme scenario. Normally, as you keep feeding the soldering tip with fresh solder and the flux that is inside, you wouldn't experience any problem during hand soldering, even at 650 degrees. Also, the SnCxPlus alloy gives better, even better, even shinier blobs of solder onto a piece of PCB materials, as I have showed you, than the SAC alloy. But that's not a big problem, but it may be quite a problem if you're trying to solder these tiny SMD parts. But I haven't tried it yet, so I cannot comment on that. Let me mention that both of these solders are no clean, which means that you don't have to clean the surface from the solder remains after you solder. And despite they are lead-free, they do contain some tiny amounts of lead in them as impurities. So a lead-free solder is not an entirely lead-free solder. They all contain a very small quantity of lead into them. Now, compared to the normal 4060 lead-based solder, which contains 40% of lead into it, the lead-free solders contain 0 point something of lead into them. For example, the SnCxPlus from Alpha Industries contains only about 0.05% of lead into it. So there is some lead, but this is contained in the very tiny amounts, impurities. So it's a good idea to always clean, to always wash up your hands when you move away from the lab, or you want to eat something, or you want to touch your clothes, or you want to touch the doorknobs, or any other surface that will be used by other people after you use it. So that was it for today. Thanks very much for watching. This is Kostas, Sierra Victor 3, Oscar Romeo Alpha, my ham call sign. And make sure you check out my website at qrp.gr.